On this edition of the news, we've got some very important information regarding the vintage collection, basic figures of 3.75 inch, what's happening, and how many figures will there be for the year. We'll take a look at some Mandalorian pops and some customs. All this and more coming up. Welcome everybody to Usualmike Television Toy Showcase channel, and yes, I've been away for a little while. Have to explain where I've been. Hasn't been wonderful. Our lovely pet, our family dog Lily, had to be put down. She did briefly appear in a few videos that I had made through the years, and we had her for 16 years and she's gone up to doggy heaven, so it has been a little bit sad around the house. So mind that. I thank you for having your patience for waiting for me to come back. I guess on that note, let's get into some news. First thing I want to talk about is, the last video I filmed was blazing hot and the fan was going in this room, and the flicker off all the packaging, the light, and some people were pretty sick after watching it. A little bit, if you're epileptic and that little flicker constantly hits you in the face after looking at a screen, it can be terrible to your health, so I apologize for that. The weather today, 23 degrees. Wow, that's really low. I don't know when it gets up around 38s and that, it's 100 degrees in the old scale. Wow, it's hot, but not now. It is comfortable, it is cool. And also I want to thank Bob, who sent this in a package. This is his band, Wildmare. Awesome. So let's get into the news. The first thing I want to talk about was a rumor that an extra wave of figures were listed at Star Action Figures in the UK. They have crunched their numbers over there. They call their waves completely different to everybody else. Well, in fact, after doing some research, nobody knows what wave anymore. The last wave that I knew of, which was this wave here, featuring Leia, Shadow Trooper and whatnot, is wave 11. But some are listing that as wave 24. Wave 24. So Star Action Figures has that listed as wave 24. The wave 25 is the one we're all waiting for. Mandalorian, Cara Dune, Remnant Stormtrooper, Clone Trooper. That's going to be a very popular wave. The wave after that is wave 26. And they've got a listing for it. Has no information whatsoever. What? Then they have wave 27. They have an empty listing on their website. Then the listing is of wave 26. Bespin Luke, Bespin Han, C-3PO and Lando. Then they've listed wave 28 as Darth Maul, Anakin from the Clone Wars, Clone Commander and Wicket. So they're all the repack waves. Those two waves, they're repack waves. They've slipped something in between and said there's some more figures coming. It doesn't look like it. It just looks like they've made a error. If we go over to Dorkside, they refer to the Bespin Luke wave as wave 3, due out in June. The wave 4 is the Darth Maul wave, due out in September. Entertainment Earth call the Bespin Luke wave wave 4. The Darth Maul wave at Entertainment Earth is wave 3, due out in August. What is going on? Well, to tell you the truth, no one really knows. It's a mess. No one has concise numbers. They reset numbers, so the waves go back to 1 when there's a Triple Force Friday. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they expand the waves, saying they're waves, 26, 27. That's going back beyond the 2018s, way back then. We need Hasbro to step forward at the next toy convention and say, this is wave whatever. That would make perfect sense to us. We will say this is wave 10, 12, 15, 64. I don't care what number it is. Hasbro need to tell us, because all the people around the world who sell online stores, it's a kerfuffle of numbers. It really is. Everybody is confused, including myself. So speaking of these vintage collection waves, we're just talking vintage collection right now. So the Mandalorian wave comes out March, probably into April as well. The next one will be, June? And the next one after that will be August, September. That's the year done. And then there might be a December wave. They're all repacks, except for 3 figures, because the Clone Trooper, as you know, in the next wave is a repack. So you're just going to have Mandalorian, Cara Dune, Remnant Stormtrooper. Everything else till December is a repack, unless we get an exclusive pop-up here and there to coincide with those sets. I'm going to read you an article now from Blue Harvest Collector. It is a snippet from an interview featuring Adam Paulus, the Galactic Hunter, on a Q&A. This is what was said. When asked the question that they were just curious, did Hasbro actually say they were holding off 75% of the product for episode 9 until after the movie came out? I seem to remember hearing this, and people are referring to it in the discussions, but it is an actual Hasbro quote. That says Mike, but it's not me. I reported on this, but this is the answer that Adam Paulus gave. No, the plan was always to keep the line more or less as you saw it. It was never some big giant line plan. A couple of items drop off for every film, some before you learn about them and some after. The plan for most of these Disney era Star Wars lines were for the product to hit before theatrical release, with things generally coming in close when home video begins. This is a very different than how they used to do it 10 to 15 years ago, when toy companies played up home video as a second major push with new product and tons of new eyeballs. Blame short attention spans and increase of choice through streaming services. I guess it's not like kids buy a DVD and watch it 100 times anymore. I was in more than a few meetings about this kind of thing. I can't reveal too much. It'd make for a fun story. And what you saw is pretty much exactly what was planned. Triple Force Friday has a capital E event. Was always a big plan. The Hasbro product is pretty much as planned. There was never a plan that I heard any hubbub about for more 2019 Hasbro, The Mandalorian, and the Fallen Order stuff. And this was the episode 9 plan for everything else, pretty much. There is no Lost Kid line that made it far enough along to warrant that kind of discussion. There were no more vehicles. There weren't any fancy exclusives, and the general feeling is that 3 3/4 inch as a kid thing is dead, wrapped in plastic. My heart broke for this and other reasons the day this was relayed to me. Should Disney, Hasbro and Lucasfilm renegotiate, and since the deal expires this year, such things are possible. It is not unthinkable that 3 3/4 inch kiddie line could get carved off and handled to another toy maker. Lennard's Alien range was a hit and miss ratio, not too far from the 2019 Star Wars 3 3/4 inch line from Hasbro. Super 7, Funko, Spin Master and Mattel have all done interesting things with 3 3/4 inch human figures lately to varying degrees of success. If Hasbro done it with specifically as a kid line, I hope it goes to someone who will treat it, and it's cut off there, well. So your basic line, dead in the water, but they're hoping to give it a revamp or something. If they renegotiate it, it may go to another company and then they may start doing it. But which company would you choose? Who does a better 3 3/4 inch? I want to say Hasbro does, but some people may think otherwise. The other article I want to read isn't really an article. It is a big comment from Tim Jones, who wrote a comment on one of my videos. Let me read that to you guys now. Hey Mike, have some possible news on the Star Wars 3 3/4 inch action figure line. Currently there are discussions between Hasbro and Disney about toys for the upcoming 7th season of Clone Wars, airing later this year on Disney+. Disney wants to continue with their 5-inch Galaxy of Adventures line that was unveiled for Rise of Skywalker, but Hasbro is trying to convince Disney that this 5-inch line figures was a failure. And as you know, this line is truly a failure, as they are not selling, and that is evident when you walk into stores here in the US, Target, and a lesser extent Walmart. There are literally shelves filled with these figures. Hasbro has reported to Disney that sales of this line have fallen way short of projections on both sides. Hasbro is using these facts in an effort to convince Disney to return to the standard 3 3/4 inch line. Hasbro is also citing sales of this line were still more profitable for the Solo movie, even though it fell short of projections, but have outsold the current 5-inch line. Don't get too excited yet, because Disney is telling Hasbro if they decide to return to the 3 3/4 inch line, they want to bring it back to the cartoonish type of figures that were released between 2003 and 2005 for the Clone Wars. Personally, I didn't like these styles of figures and targeted for children. The 5-inch line is somewhat similar to these figures. It is my understanding that these negotiations are ongoing. I have also been informed that the reason for the move to the 5-inch Galaxy of Adventures figures for the Rise of Skywalker was a decision Disney made because they were worried about negative effect it would have on the Star Wars franchise if both movie and the regular toy line failed to meet expectations. I'm trying very hard to verify the next bit of news right now, but consider this to be a rumor. Early on, when Disney and Hasbro were deciding on how to proceed with the toy line associated with Rise of Skywalker, that Hasbro presented both the 3 3/4 inch and standard 5-inch line, most of the Wave 1 figures complete with separate packaging. So if true, somewhere there are 3 3/4 inch basic figures and packaging, card back and box for the Rise of Skywalker. But I think it would be a good bet that Disney would have them to avoid potential leaks. I will keep you posted, my friend. Wow, so they actually made some 3 3/4 inch possibly that were the movie line, the basic line, the 3 3/4 inch, the 5 POA, whatever you want to call that line. It's one of my favorites. It's what drew me to collecting originally, because remember the old Kenner figures, these bad boys here, even though they're on the black card backs, they were the original movie line of figures. That's what started collecting in Star Wars, you know, interesting for all of us. We were all in on 5 POA. So apparently they made some. Ooh, interesting stuff. Anyway, a couple of really big articles there from those two. Thank you very much to Tim and Blue Harvest Collector. Just to share my thoughts on what's really going down, I think vintage the collection is like become almost stagnant. I mean, I think when Hasbro thought they were going to lose a license, they pumped the brakes, and we're at that point where they're like, oh, now we've got to put some stuff out if we're going to continue. And I think because it takes a while to make a figure, say it's middle of 2019, your figure will come out end of 2020. They pump the brakes then, and when we get to here, it's going to be, oops, we've got to start again and revamp, get excited. I know lots of people say the people running Star Wars Hasbro aren't fans of Star Wars whatsoever. I beg to differ. I think Sam Smith, the guy who gave us the retro collection, I think he's a big fan. I think Patrick, he knows his figures, he knows his characters, so I think he's a fan. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. It seems like Marvel is king of the toys now. I don't know why. Star Wars, please be good again. And on that note, we'll just see what happens. Really, I can't say it any more than that. I will just wait and see what pans out. Toy Fair's coming around the corner. Maybe they'll surprise us with huge amounts of stuff. I don't want to see too many more lines. I just want to see, you know, vintage, Black Series, retro collection. I know they got Hyperreal as well. They're going to talk about that. And there is no basics. There is no 5 POA. But if they brought it back, do it for the last movie. Just bring it out for the last movie. Let us enjoy it. And we'll buy it up. Okay. Let's move on to some other news. Funko Pops. Now, the Funko Pops recently showed on my Instagram a little video of like all the ones I saw in store. There is a chrome version of the Mandalorian. His helmet is shiny, not just painted shiny, it is literally shiny. That is coming out very soon. It's an Amazon exclusive. Awesome. And also, we know we're getting a Baby Yoda. Check this out. There is the box. Excellent stuff. Original Funko. Thank you very much. The box will be horizontal sideways box. So it's also going to be in 10 inches. So are they going to do the 10-inch box sideways? Because those ears are just massive. That would be funny. And also speaking of the Baby Yoda, the child, the asset, life-size one. Check out the footage we have from the Sideshow Collectibles 1:1 scale Baby Yoda. Look at the little furry hair, the outfit. It's authentic. It looks what we refer to in this country as a chaff bag. And he's holding that little silver knob, which is his play toy, which he ripped off the Razor Crest. Brilliant stuff. It looks very authentic. Very, very authentic. This is beautiful. It's going to be available at Aussie Sci-Fi Collectibles later in the year. Get your pre-order down. Guess what? Time to talk customs! First customs comes from Boyen Customs. I love this stuff. Check this one out. This is, I gotta get a bit of a backstory. If you don't know anything about Adam Driver appearing on Saturday Night Live, he did it in the past as Matt, the technician with the blonde hair. He appeared there. It was Undercover Boss sort of spoof parody of it. He came back and he did it again. This time he appeared as Randy the intern. And check out what Boyen Customs has made. Brilliant! Okay, Boomer. That is awesome. Thank you guys for that. Couple more cool custom card backs. This time from Raw Star Wars via Etsy. I don't never ever put anything from Etsy. First one is Darth Talon. Ooh, lovely. Legacy version. Very nice. Now, you young fellas watching, avert your eyes. Okay, next one. IG-11. Brilliant. We hope to see that figure for real very, very soon. It will match all the figures that we're getting in the next wave of vintage collection. Great stuff. Next one's from Toy Addicts. A Revenge of the Jedi card. Darth Fett. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. And finally, because I've featured him before, 12 Parsecs on Instagram. Look at this. The full cast of Season 1. I think he's only missing that lady with the big curly hair. But oh, and the bad guys on the ship, the prison ship. But that looks impressive. The clients in there, Incinerator Troopers, Death Troopers, and the Baby Yoda down the front there. The Mandalorian in his proper gear, Cara Dune looking lovely, IG-11, even Grief Karga looking the part. All those ones that are custom made. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Well done, my friend. That will do it today. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. My sponsor is Aussie Sci-Fi Collectibles for all your Star Wars, Marvel, DC, TV and movies. WWE Sci-Fi needs. Check him out today. Link in the description down below. If you want to buy a shirt, check out my merch. All my merch is available in my Redbubble store. Buying from the Redbubble store helps out the channel, so thank you very much. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Usualmike30 or on Instagram at Usualmike Television. And if you want to send some fan mail, it's back here at PO Box 957, Lismore, New South Wales 2480, Australia. And if you haven't done so already, hit subscribe, tap that little bell for notifications, slap a like on this video if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. All the best.